Bob, you recently also interviewed your Deputy Prime Minister, Winston Peters. I think that's real kudos to you and the credibility your organisation has that you can interview the Deputy PM. But you asked him a question that I think a lot of us Conservatives would like to ask all of our political leaders. You asked him about the UK's CAS review, which resulted in the banning of puberty blockers and the closure of the Tavistock Child Gender Clinic in London. Let's take a look at what he said.
Okay, am I able to just ask you a quick question, hopefully not catch you off guard, just around the issue of the whole puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones for children? There is going to be a review. The CAS report came from the UK. Are you looking for a review there? Are you keen to see some progress on that?
Again, we're very keen to see progress because young people, unable to make up their mind, are being destroyed for life by what I might call loose liberal views of what their entitlement is to make decisions at an early time when their minds are not framed. Go and ask any criminal lawyer, and the first thing they say when somebody's on a certain age is that this person's not fully mature yet. But here we got people prepared to condone this when a child could make a decision, no chance to turn that decision backwards if they made the mistake, and they'll be living their life with that mistake because adults didn't have enough courage or common sense to ask them to wait until they could make the decision at an age of maturity. It's that simple.
So, Bob, clear comments from your Deputy PM. Why isn't your Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, taking some action to protect children?
Well, there's two problems here. Firstly, we have a coalition government, and so we've got the National Party, which got the majority, not the majority, but the largest percentage of the vote. It was around, I think it was 34% or something around there. And then you've got the ACT Party, which is a sort of libertarian party. And then you've got New Zealand First, which I think are probably closest to being social conservatives. And in fact, Winston Peters is going to be our Deputy Prime Minister for 18 months. And then David Seymour, who's the leader of the ACT Party, the Libertarians, he's going to be Deputy Prime Minister. But out of the three parties, New Zealand First is really the only social conservative party. The National Party used to be socially conservative, but not anymore. In fact, while they're fiscally conservative, as are the ACT Party, they're not social conservative. The ACT Party, in fact, pushed euthanasia, voted for conversion therapy laws, voted to change birth certificates. So they are not, voted for abortion. So they are not social conservatives. And unfortunately, while Christopher Luxon has a Christian background and at one stage said he was going to church and says he believes that abortion is murder, killing a child, he will not go near any of the social conservative issues. He just doesn't want to deal with them. He thinks that they cause too much trouble in politics, and so he's not willing even to fix them. And so Winston Peters can say these things, but unfortunately he's got to deal with two other parties, the ACT Party and the National Party, who just are allergic to these social issues. Even when you get CAS report from the NHS in the UK making a slam dunk about the harms of gender affirmation treatment. And it's a disgrace to the National Party that they're not willing to do something when the evidence is so strong. So all we can do is keep pushing. And I think for Winston Peters and the New Zealand First Party, they recognise that Family First is a group that can possibly get some mainstream support in behind them to get this over the line. But it's hard work, and I think, you in Australia are having just as much difficulty.
We are, Bob, and look, I was keen to show that clip in spite of someone as high profile as Winston Peters saying those very clear things. This is the problem that you've got in New Zealand, we have it in Australia. I think Peter Dutton, sadly, would probably be very similar, although happy to give him the benefit of the doubt if he wins government. But like you say, we've just got to keep pushing. Bob, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. Really appreciate the work you're doing and the way you're going about it, the stories that you're unearthing and the movement you're creating there. I hope we can see a real Anzac pushback in our two nations over time as we keep fighting these fights. So thanks so much for your time today.
Good to be on the show, Lyle.